In this video, I'm going to show you how to use the Autoterm diesel heater comfort controller. Currently the screen is on and we can see the cabin temperature, we can see the leisure battery voltage, and we can see the time. To wake that up, because it's automatically off in standby mode, you just wake that up with the circular button. We can see this timer. I've got that as an example. I'll show you how to set that. That basically is saying that the timer will turn on at 10:30, 10:20 even, every day. We go in by pressing this middle button. We can select heating, ventilation, which if I click on that and set this speed, for example, that will just pump in cold air, and we can set the duration for that. Save that by pressing that button there, and you can see that it's going to go off in 44 minutes. We can shut that down straight away by holding down these three buttons. That will take us back to the main menu. In heating, we can select various modes: temperature mode, power mode, heat and ventilation, or thermostat. Temperature, you obviously select whatever temperature you would like. The heater, when it reaches that temperature, will not shut down. It will continue to burn fuel, but it will burn a minimum amount of fuel. So you might actually see that the temperature in the cabin exceeds that. So I wouldn't recommend using that. I would use either heat and ventilation, which when it reaches that temperature that you've set, it will just pump in cold air. It will stop the combustion process. Or even better still, the new thermostat mode, which will completely shut the heater down after you reach your desired temperature. And then it will boot back up when you drop beneath that. That will maximize efficiency and reduce the fuel consumption. So for example, we'll go and boot that up in a bit. So I'm going to press back, go back to the main menu, and you've got settings and timers. So in settings, you can select your time and date, various display settings, like do you want the screen to time out, for example. But in heater, you can go in and select temperature sensor by panel or by heater. I always recommend by panel, and you can see that selected by the little square, the cross in the square there. That will basically mean that you're setting a desired temperature at this point here in the van, whereas if you're doing it by the heater, that's going to be naturally hotter anyway because of the heat produced by the combustion process. So that's select. We're going to go back, and in advanced, you've got the thermostat where this is for the thermostat setting, which I'll boot up in a second. It's 1 degree Celsius above your temperature where the heater will shut down, and it will boot back up 2 degrees Celsius lower than the desired temperature. That's the basic default setting. So I'm going to leave like that. If you ever need to reset your heater or the settings, you've got the reset down there. I'm going to come back out, and the last thing I'm going to show you before I boot it up is the timers. So I made an example timer there. You can see it's ticked in the square box, timer 1. I'm going to go into that. I'm going to press it there. I can either disable it or enable it. I'm going to turn it back on, for example, or adjust. You selected time, so it could be 1 o'clock or 1:20 or whatever, and you can say, every day I want it to come on for 30 minutes at that time. So you can select every day. You can set working days, specific days. I'm going to just do every day, ED, and we're going to go for heating. Saved. So I can disable that so that the heater doesn't come on every day. So that's off. We've got no timers set. but that's how you would set them if you wanted to. And so we've gone through the settings, timers, and we've done ventilation, but for heating, we're going to boot that up and we're going to go thermostat mode, and we're going to set that at 20 degrees. And I'm going to put it on for an hour. And you save that by pressing that button there. So just to recap, 5 degrees Celsius is the cabin temperature, 6 degrees now. 12.6 volts is our leisure battery. This little T is saying that we're in thermostat mode. This red LED here is indicating that the heater is on and combustion will either start or is engaging. And we've got our time and the duration of the heater. That will, it can take a few minutes to boot up. But for example, I'm going to switch it off now, which is these 3 little dots here. Hold that down, switch off. And if it is already booted up, you'll see a green light, which indicates that the heater's shutting down, and you might still hear the heater make some noises, and that's just basically cooling the combustion chamber down to a level where the parts and all the materials are in their good parameters. Thank you for watching.